Do you and your team struggle to give estimates on how long a project's gonna take whenever it comes across your desk? Well, today I'm hoping to build a tool that just might help with that problem. Hey everybody, welcome to The Practical Place. My name is Ryan Holguin and I'm a certified project management professional. And today, as I said, I wanna walk you through from scratch how to build a project plan, but also this is gonna be a tool that you could potentially use to distribute to your team to help them estimate project timelines. And my goal is that this will be pretty intuitive once you build it, and once you have all your estimated durations in, your team's gonna be able to use this tool and estimate projects in a matter of seconds. So we're gonna hop on over to my computer screen and I'm gonna walk you through start to finish how you're gonna be able to use this, and I might just be able to give this to you at the very end. Okay, so I have a blank Excel spreadsheet open, and basically, like I said, what I wanna do is I wanna build out a mock project plan. I'm gonna assume the role of a professional marketer, and this is going to be how to capture a literature timeline for building a marketing flyer. And so I'm gonna put in some dummy tasks in here, and I'm gonna use that as my sort of foundation to show you how to embed the formulas and the formatting and everything like that may help you in your specific context. So the first thing I wanna do is, and I actually wanna shout out Proper Project Management. I actually saw a video where he built out a simple project plan. I'm gonna use some of those elements here, so shout out to him. I'm gonna expand on that a little bit just based on what's worked for me in my context, and maybe it helps you and you can expand it in your context. So what I want to do is I'm just going to do kind of my header, my high level sort of section here first. So I'm going to say project title, and then I'll say, you can say project manager or project lead. So I'll say, just depending on your context. And then here I will say it's going to be project start date and project end date. This is how duration. Okay, so we have this. I do want to format this real quick. Give me a second. Go with like light blue. So I like this. All right, so I'm gonna just format and copy this and all of these. Oops. All right, so I've got that. So I've got everything I need here. I'm gonna keep this as is for now. I'm just building out the formatting or the structure of the plan, and then from there I'm gonna start entering content or entering actual information and data. So here I wanna do my work breakdown structure. So I'm gonna say WBS number. Then this here I will say task name, and then I'm gonna do start date, end date, and duration. So again, a lot of this is going to help out with, one, it's gonna help you and your team sort of apply structured thinking to your project, meaning you're gonna be able to take a bigger project and then you're gonna be able to break it down into smaller chunks to see what makes up the entirety of the ETA that we're giving our stakeholder, customer, whoever you're working with. So that's one of the byproducts or benefits of building out a project plan. If you haven't used one, or if you just haven't used it a ton in your organization, is that it helps you really break down into bite-sized pieces what makes up the entirety of your project. Where are some of your critical path tasks, meaning the longest task that is critical to make sure you have a successful project at the end, like you have to get this done. And it helps you kind of map out a lot of those tasks to determine what do we need to get done in order to get this project done on time at the quality we promised we would get it done at. So that's one of the byproducts that I'll mention here. So, oops, I'm not gonna save it. Sorry, that's a habit. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm just gonna build out a few, I don't know, let's say 15 tasks. So from 10 to 25 here, I'm gonna build this out, format this real quick. And then, so let's say in building my flyer, let's say I have to do a creative brief. I have to make a creative brief. So I'm gonna say creative brief development, all right? So this is my task here. And so what goes into that creative brief development, this is gonna be my sort of parent row or my header row and then I'm gonna have subtasks under that make up this specific deliverable. And this sort of helps, this is a conversation about work breakdown structure as far as like how I'm gonna build out my work breakdown structure so that you can see the sequence of how these tasks are each a deliverable, and the subtasks are tasks to make sure we get that, what we need to do to get that deliverable delivered to our customer or to whoever the next stakeholder is in our project. So let's just say input assets into brief, and then we'll say send assets to designer. Let's just say that, right? And I'm gonna tab these over so we know that these are nested under here. I'm actually gonna I'm just gonna bold these just because, again, they're the high level tasks that we wanna look at. Again, from a high level, what are the deliverables we need to deliver and the subtasks that make up that. So I'm just gonna format these so they stand out a little bit. So we have this. So this is gonna be 1.1, 0.2. And then I'm gonna move on to 2, which is my second deliverable. So let's just call this draft 1. So I'm gonna say designer builds, creates draft, and then designer sends draft to PM, review draft 1, and review edits to draft 1, send draft 1 to designer. So these are my tasks that are gonna make up this deliverable, if you will, or this phase of the project. So I'm gonna say 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and now I'm gonna get to 3. And let's just say it takes me 2 drafts to get this done. So I'm gonna say draft 1 and then final draft, right? So I'm basically gonna do the same thing here, just copy this, put it here. Actually, hold on. Sorry, I'm gonna change this up here. Creates draft 2, sends draft 2 to PM. And if you need to slow down or speed this up, you can totally do that. I will not be offended, though I will see it in my analytics, so I know who you are. Send draft to designer. All right, so that's good. And then I'll say final draft right here. And then, so I'm gonna copy some of this, approve final draft. All right, so let me add my formatting in here. All right, so this formatting's good. 2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. All right, so that's good. Format, this is good, and this is good. All right, so, oops, draft. All right, so I think I have everything in here that I need, right? So I have 4 sort of stages or deliverables in this particular project. So you have developing the creative brief, and then you have the draft 1 portion stage, and then you have draft 2, and then you have the final draft where designer creates it, he sends it to the PM, and then the PM reviews it and hopefully approves it, all things being equal. So that's just a breakdown of how this works. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start entering in some formulas and functions to show you how this stuff is gonna automatically populate for whenever you wanna hand this template off to one of your team members. I'm also gonna show you how to protect the sheet so that if you wanna make sure that it's dummy proof and nobody can mess up the structure in which you put in here. So let's do this first. We're gonna first say the high level start date. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do high level formulas here, but I'm just gonna do the subtask durations, and then you'll see what I do up here and what makes up this. So what I'm gonna do is the start date of my very first task is gonna equal the project start date, right? So whatever this is, it's gonna equal that. But actually what I need to do is I need to do an if statement because I want this to be clean. And if this is blank, I don't want this to be 0. And I need to change my formatting here. Actually, I'm just gonna do short dates on all of these just to make this simple. You can do it however you want as far as the dating format, but I'm gonna do short date on all of these, short date. And then on these durations, these are gonna be numbers actually. So I'm just gonna do, general numbers, those are good. This is a date, this is a date, and this is a general number. So that's all good. This is general text and number, whatever. All right, so this is gonna equal this. What I wanna do is I actually wanna enhance this cell though, because if the reference cell that I'm wanting it to mirror is blank, I want this cell to actually be blank, so it's gonna be clean. So whenever I give this template to my stakeholder or my team member to use, I don't want them to see a bunch of dummy dates and just cause confusion. I want to make this as easy and intuitive as I can. So I'm gonna use an if statement here to make sure that this is blank whenever they get it. So equals if this is equal to blank, which is this 2 sort of quotation marks here, comma, if that's true, then I want this cell that I'm in to also be blank. Otherwise, I want it to equal this value here. So as you can see, it's blank now. And if I were to put, equals today, then you can see that it's gonna equal today, right? So that's really nice in my opinion. It makes it look nice and clean, and I'm gonna do that on all of these, right? And what I didn't mention earlier is that this project plan template is gonna be a duration-based template, meaning that all my team members have to do, or all I have to do once it's built, is adjust the duration column. So if I say that this task is going to take 10 days, all I'm going to have to do is put 10 here, and then it'll adjust my dates for my timeline to give them an estimate of when a task or an entire project is going to be completed. So they're not going to have to adjust dates, they're only going to have to adjust the duration of that specific task. So this is going to be more of a duration-based project plan. So now I need to put in my formula in the end date column here, or in the end date field. So I'm going to use another if statement because again, I want it to be blank if the reference cell is going to be blank. So I want to do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals if. So if this again is blank, then I want my cell to be blank. Otherwise, I want you to run the workday function. And the workday function, what this does is you find the start date, and then from there, as you can see here, it says days. What we're gonna do is from the days option, we're going to select the duration field, because this is a duration-based project plan. We're gonna only need to change our durations to update our dates. And so we're gonna go off this start date here, and then we're gonna go off of our duration, which it's actually F11, and then we're going to select our holidays. And I'm actually gonna make these holidays an absolute reference, because I'm gonna copy this formula to all of my other end dates. So I'm gonna say enter. I forgot to do my parentheses, but it fixed it for me. And as you can see, I already have a duration of 10 days for this, and it's already included at here. Let's say if I do 5, it's gonna update that to 5 days, right? And it's considering weekends. That's what Workday is. It's only counting business days from our start date. So as you can see, I've got my first task in here. So really a lot of this now is gonna be just copying and pasting. So I'm gonna copy here, copy this here, paste, copy this here, paste, and paste. So if you can see all these I have here, and it's referencing that start date of that task. So I'm just gonna say, now what I'm gonna do here is I actually have to build an if statement formula based off of my end date of my previous task. So I'm gonna say equals if, going off of this, if this is equal to blank or empty, then I want my cell to be empty. Otherwise, I want you to run the workday function, and this is my start date, and my days is going to go off of 1. I'm actually going to select this. It's going to be 1 because I just want to add a date. This is going to start a day after my end date. Now you can do same day, and you can say 0 if you want, but just for simplicity, I'm going to add a day after my end date here. And then again, my holidays are going to be this section here, and I need to make this an absolute reference so that whenever I copy my formula, it's not going to bring this reference down. And I forgot to add the parentheses again, so it's gonna correct that for me. So as you can see, I don't have a duration in here, but I'm gonna select, let's just say 1 day, because maybe it takes me a day to clean up my brief and then submit it over, or whatever the case may be. So now what I'm gonna do is, it's a lot of copying of my start date. So I'm gonna copy this, I'm gonna paste it right here. And if you notice, it's copying from this date, and I don't want to copy it from this high level date. I want to actually copy it from the last task. So I'm going to drag these references up, enter, and I'm going to drag all these down here. The only problem is, actually I'm going to undo. The only problem is, in this case, it was referencing two rows up. So I actually need to just bring these references down, enter, and then I'm going to just bring this all the way down. And this one I'm actually going to copy, because this is the one whenever a new stage starts. So I'm going to just copy it down here because it's going off this. Drag and drop. Whoopsies, not drag and drop. Copy that one because now it's referencing the right one. Once you start to build sort of the first couple tasks and the first couple formulas, a lot of it's just copying. So building the initial foundation of your template is very crucial to make sure you do it the right way. And then from there, again, like I said, it's a lot of copying and pasting of your formulas. All right, so now let me just plug in my durations. So let's just say it takes my designer 20 business days or about a month to create the draft. They're gonna send it to me, so I'm gonna say that takes 1 day to review. Let's say we take 2 weeks to review it because I need a team of people to review it, and that might take them 2 weeks, for instance. For me to review it, I'm gonna say, give myself 3 business days after everybody submits their edits to it. I wanna be able to go in there and clean it up to make sure it's all clear for our designer. So I'm gonna say it takes 3 days for me to review those edits, and then to send it over back to the designer, it's gonna take 1 day. And then from here, it looks like this, for them to create draft 2, we've already built enough. So I'm gonna just say this only takes 10 business days, and I'm gonna copy these same durations again to review all of it, to edit, and to send back over. For them to create the last, I'm gonna say it only takes 5 business days. They send it back over to me, and we take about a week to review the last of it. So as you can see, this built out my entire schedule starting here. And actually what I need to do here for my end date is I find my last task, and I say that's gonna equal my last task. So project start date, project end date, and now here's my project duration. I'm actually gonna move this and just put it right here, just so it's closer. And this is going to be network days. So network days, it returns, as you can see here, the whole number of work days between 2 dates. So it's gonna find a start date, end date, it's gonna calculate the number of working days in between those 2 dates. So that's what I wanna use. So this is my start date, obviously. This is my end date. And then again, you wanna consider your holidays throughout the year. You don't wanna forget about those. And just for consistency, I want to lock these because these are always going to be here. I always push 4 instead of F4. All right, so that's good. So as you can see, if I were to get this project, let's actually remove my start date. As you can see, it goes away. I probably need to do an if statement here. That's what I want to do. If this is blank, that's what I want to do. Then I want this to be blank. Otherwise, do network days. And this is my start date. This is my end date. Absolute. Forgot my parentheses again. You can see that I have bad habits. So it's blank. And if you want, you can hide this just so it's not showing to your team whenever you share this template with them. So as you can see, if I want to just do, a lot of the times it's going to be based off of today or whenever they get that plan. So you can use the today function, enter, and it automatically builds out your schedule. It gives you your project durations and network days considering your holidays. And now what I want to move on to now is I actually want to move into the permissions and locking the permissions for this so that whenever you share it, it's easy to modify and edit without messing up any of the formulas or functions. So basically what I want to do is I want to highlight all of the cells that my team is going to use in a certain color to let them know, hey, these are the only ones you need to touch and worry about, and everything else you don't even need to worry about. So I'm just going to select these and make these green. So these are the ones I want them to all fill in, and I just realized I need to do something to these high level ones here, but I still need to do this nonetheless, but I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so these are the cells that they're only going to need to touch. Everything else is going to be automated and automatic. So we're going to show this entire stage, how long it takes to get this stage done, right? So in my start date, I want this to equal the minimum. So I want it to return the minimum date, like the earliest date. And then here, I want it to return the latest date. So this is going to be max, right? And then again, I'm going to do network days. So I'm going to measure this date from this date. And actually, I need to unhide this so I can find it real quick. So start date, end date, holidays, absolute, enter. All right. So let's start this calculation. As you can see, it's measuring the distance between this start date and this start date. So I'm going to do the same exact thing here at these other levels. What's going on here? I just need to copy this. I don't need to create an event. Stop asking me that. Same thing here, same thing here, same thing here, right? So let's just double check our work. So you can see the 13th is the minimum date it's pulling. The 13th is the earliest date. The latest date, actually I need this to be the max. Oh, here's my problem. It's not pulling all of these. Here we go. Same thing here. It's not going to pull all of these. So I need to make sure it pulls all of my subtasks. So I'm getting the right estimate. All right, perfect. Let's do the sum here. You see it's a total duration of 92 here, and same thing here of 92. So our math is correct, but this is let me hide this. And let's get rid of this. So as you can see here, these ones are gonna be still filled in. They're not gonna be blank. I just kept them as is, but I'll just explain to my team, hey, don't worry about this. All you need to worry about is the green cells, and you wanna do your project start date. So let's say you have a customer come to you or a stakeholder say, hey, we need to kick off a project and it's gonna start on May 1st. When do you think tentatively we could have that project completed? Well, let's go May 1st, 2025. It's gonna take about 92 business days, customer, and it looks like we can probably get that done somewhere mid-September or so. And this gives you a quick, efficient way for your team to be able to estimate project timelines. Once you get all your tasks in there, you're able to break it down into each phase. You can put as many subtasks in here as you want, as many as you want to get them to do, and then they can use it as a resource for them. Now, the last thing I want to show you what to do is protect the sheet so that whenever you want to share it, it gives you that opportunity to do that. So basically what I want to do is I want to select all of my entire sheet, and then I want to come over to, review? Yeah, it's review and protect my sheet. Actually, before I do that, I want to select my entire sheet and I want to right click and I want to go to format and I want to make sure everything is hidden. So whenever I do protect my sheet, my formulas aren't showing and it confuses them. In the formula bar up here, I don't want them to see that. So I want to do that, and I want to make sure everything is locked. And then I want to select OK. So everything now, if I were to theoretically protect my sheet now, and I'll just show you. Let me protect it. Let me put in a password and say OK. Re-put in my password and say OK. So if I were to give this to them as is now, and they wouldn't be able to change it because everything's protected. As you can see, I locked everything, but I did hide them. So as you can see, there's no formulas coming up here. There's no, it doesn't show my if statements in here. It doesn't show my today statement here or anything, which is great. That's what I want. So let me protect this and let me show you how to only unlock the cells that you want them to edit. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to hold on to my control control key and select all of the cells that I only want them to be able to edit, which are the green ones. And then right click and find format. And I want to unlock those ones. So whenever I do protect my sheet, these are gonna be the only cells they're able to edit and modify. So I'm gonna go to update, okay? Protect my sheet again, put in my password. Now my sheet's protected. So let's say I wanna edit this, I can't do that. But if I wanna change this date to 6/1, I can totally do that, right? And if I need to change this to 10 days, I can do that. If I need to put my name in here, I can do that. But if I wanted to change this, I can't do that. Again, these are all locked, which is great. It protects your template from being messed up and then having to troubleshoot it or fix it every time a team member or stakeholder uses this. They don't mess anything up, and it essentially makes it dummy proof, if you will. And they only need to update the green cells that I've highlighted for them. All right, guys, hopefully that was really helpful and informative. And like I said earlier in the video, if you needed to slow it down or speed it up or skip ahead, totally fine with me. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing here to The Practical Place. I always try to make practical content for any aspiring project managers or even just professionals that are trying to enhance a lot of their skills, whether that be spreadsheets, project management, soft skills, certifications, things like that. Always trying to add value to you guys wherever you're at. If you're interested in obtaining a template, the one that I just created in the video, comment below, let me know, and I will reach out to you and try to get your contact information to email it over to you free of charge. Just let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that. Until next time, I'm Ryan Holguin here with The Practical Place, where project management meets real life.